With just 16 Democratic governors serving right now across the nation, the party is gearing up for a fight right here in Massachusetts. Among those considering a run is longtime social justice advocate Bob Massie. You may remember him from his 1994 run for lieutenant governor with Mark Roosevelt. Only the grad tax ballot question, which I ran, suffered a comparable crushing, although many at the time said that if Massie had been on top of the ticket, they might have won. Massie also ran for the U.S. Senate in 2011, but left the field upon Elizabeth Warren's entrance. These days, he's the executive director of the Sustainable Solutions Lab at UMass Boston, with plenty of criticism for how Charlie Baker has been handling the office. Politics may once again be calling his name. Bob Massie, it's great to see you.
Good to see you again.
So it's almost a quarter of a century since you ran for electoral office. Is this all about Donald Trump?
It's largely about Donald Trump. I was in Europe during the fall, and I watched the Trump election, and I watched many of the things that I've worked for 40 years be in jeopardy, and I thought all of us have to resist and fight back.
I read your comments at my favorite Democratic City Committee, the Cambridge Democratic Committee, from the other night. You said he being Charlie Baker, won't stand up to endless assaults from Trump. Other than not going to rallies, how is Charlie Baker not standing up to anything that Trump has thrown our way?
I think taking a strong public position on the assault on our democracy is critical at this point.
He's not doing that?
No, he's not. I mean, saying, I didn't vote for him, I don't know what I'm doing. We have one claim after another, one assault on constitutional rights after another, and Charlie keeps taking a pass.
And take the travel ban for a second. He joined the lawsuit that Maura Healey did. She actually praised him here the other night, Democratic Attorney General, for that. He wrote a letter to Homeland Security about his concerns. He spoke out against it in terms of the economic implications, et cetera. I mean, other than not going to that event nor the airport.
It's not just, the airport, the Copley Square, the Women's March. He has not denounced the president's false claim about New Hampshire. He has, he's sort of both sides Baker. He's trying to keep the attention away from himself when this is a moment in which the Republic itself is in crisis.
You don't think he's in an impossible position where at the same time that it's pretty clear he's unhappy with a lot that comes out of Trump, he's got to ensure that we don't lose whatever it is, a significant chunk of $11 billion federal dollars out of our $40 billion budget? You're not sympathetic to that?
No, I'm not. This is I was in Lexington this morning, the birthplace of American democracy. We are in danger of watching the demise of American democracy. We have a president who is encroaching on constitutional rights across the entire board. And we have major structural problems that we need to address. It's not just Trump. It's about where we're going as a state. His State of the State address was a laundry list of stuff he's done. I appreciate that. But that's management. That's not leadership. And we have to renew our values and commit to deep problems. So one of which is structural inequality that we have about fundamentally who's going to be able to participate in our growing economy. And the other, frankly, is the missed opportunity on transforming our energy system, which could restore our economy in all kinds of important ways.
You know, on the inequality issue, though, one of the first things a candidate and then early Governor Baker fought for was a huge increase in the earned income tax credit, which, as you know, is of great value to low-income working people. I mean, that's a pretty good way to, at least in part, combat inequality, is it not?
Well, that's one step. I mean, that's an example of an incremental, that's fine. But what we need to do is sit down and set out bold goals for Massachusetts. That's what Massachusetts used to do. We created public education. We fought for abolition. We set out what is it that we ultimately want to do. I'd ask you, Jim, what is your dream for Massachusetts? Because right now we're just kind of muddling along, and yet we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis around inequality. We're in a crisis around climate change, which could bury a lot of Boston and other parts of the city, and the defense of the Republic. We have to fight all those battles at once, and you need strong values and bold leadership to do that.
While your language about Trump, obviously I assume you think he's about the worst we've ever had, you criticized Barack Obama, too. You said that unlike some of his predecessors, I'm not convinced he's going to lead over some investment issue. So you're pretty much not happy with the state of affairs in our democracy, whether it's a Trump or a liberal-leaning Democrat,
I had a period of time where I wasn't well for a couple of years. I'm now fine. But during that period, I read a biography of every president of the United States. And the ones that we remember are ones that looked at the situation and didn't just say, let's take a small step. They said, let's take a huge step, which is part of American tradition. And I don't see that. President Obama, who I admire and did many wonderful things, he also was cautious on some issues. And I think right now, we can't afford to be cautious.
Quickly, if we can, I know you support the millionaires tax, which
Yes,
will be
I do,
likely be on the ballot in 2018.
Yep.
Do you think we need to raise revenue in some fashion between now and then to accomplish or achieve some of these vision things you talked about?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that the millionaire's tax is going to produce a huge debate between now and then. This is a fundamental question about principle. What kind of state do we want to be? In the shorter term, obviously, we could use the money, but whether we have the room to debate both the millionaire's tax and additional revenue, I don't necessarily.
You don't like casinos, I know, during the casino debate. How do you feel about the lottery?
I don't like the lottery either, and I don't like bringing it online. Well, I think we have to live with it. It's a source of revenue, but I live in Somerville, a wonderful city, but I see a lot of people burning their income on lottery. But one of the things I want to come back to is the reason I think I can be governor is that I have pulled people together and invited them to do things that they've never done before and succeeded repeatedly on major issues around the environment, on business, on investment. And so that's what we need now, somebody who can look outside. The rest of the world, Jim, is moving forward on critical issues at a pace that we are simply not keeping up with. And we keep priding ourselves that we're ahead on this and ahead on that. We are not, and we need to catch up.
Bob, 15 seconds before you go. I know you think Charlie Baker's not the right person for the job, but you appear not convinced that you are. I've read you say that if Maura Healey decides to enter this race, you're out. Is that true? Maura
Healey is an extraordinary leader, and I recognize her strength and her appeal, and, I'm a political realist. I'm going to go forward, and we will see what happens.
Hope to see you a lot in the future.
Thank you very much,
great
Jim.
to see you again.
Yep.
Thank you. What's your website? Do you have one?
Not yet, actually.
Okay. When he does, we'll let you know.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.